Let's start in the NBA. Kyrie Irving. All right, let's face it. Kyrie all year has had a built-in excuse to not be judged about anything, right? If they don't win with Kyrie, what do you expect? He hadn't been there. So he can come out and have these great individual performances and everybody's wowed and blown away because he's not playing full time. So we can't expect him to really win. But now that he's back, it's time to play real, responsible basketball. And they have enough talent to at least make a deep playoff run. And if they don't, we will look at Kyrie. We will look at how much is he getting Durant involved, making his teammates better. So now all that just go out there and put on a show, that's over. Now it's winning time, and that adds Duress for Kyrie. Number 4, staying in the association, I'm going with James Harden. James Harden wants and needs a championship more than anything else. That's why he went to Brooklyn. All right, and in Brooklyn, not only did he have the most talented team in the league, but he had 2 guys in Durant and Kyrie who would take the big shots in the big games and moments. Now he prematurely, it appears, quit on the Nets and forced his way to Philadelphia. And now the pressure is on because, one, he's got to take those big shots in the big moments, he or Joel Embiid. So that pressure is back. And they could face Brooklyn in the playoffs. And when I saw Brooklyn go there a few weeks ago, Kyrie challenged Harden, and Harden didn't want that smoke. So there's pressure on Mr. James Harden. At number 3, we're going to the NFL. Patrick Mahomes. Look, Patrick Mahomes, as I said earlier, has had the benefit his entire career of the best wide receiver tight end duo in the league. Now that's gone. And now he's got to win without the deep threat, the safety valve that was Tyreek Hill. Last year, in many people's eyes, not mine, but many people's, he went from can he become the GOAT to is he still the best quarterback in the NFL? If he doesn't have a great season this year without Tyreek Hill, it could go to is he still the best quarterback in the NFL to is he even the best quarterback in the AFC or even his division. He could fall back into just one of the great quarterbacks right now. So a lot on the line, both currently and legacy-wise for Patrick Mahomes. At number 2, we are staying in the NFL at that position, Tua Tagovailoa. Look, no excuses. They have given him everything now. Mike McDaniel, the new head coach, was not whistling Dixie when he said he believed in Tua Tagovailoa because clearly he has given him everything he needs to succeed. They bolstered the offensive line to a great degree. They got great receivers. Remember, they didn't only add Tyreek Hill, they added Cedric Wilson to join Jalen Waddle. And not to mention Mike Gesicki, the tight end, who's pretty good. And they added 2 running backs, Chase Edmonds, Raheem Mostert. They have given Tua everything. If he can't be great this year, then he probably can't be great, period. And at number 1, not a transaction yet, but Baker Mayfield. It was all good just a week ago. I mean, well, not really, but it was better than it is right now, at least. All right, Baker Mayfield has gone from a definitive franchise quarterback, starting quarterback, one who was so cocky that he actually was requesting a trade and naming the team the Colts. Here's the problem. Nobody else in the NFL wants him. Not to trade for him. They don't want to give anything up for him. My goodness. Now, remember, the Bud List is all about motivation. And here's my motivation for Baker. A lot of you seen reports, people saying he needs to be humbled. That'd be the best thing for Baker Mayfield. You don't see any of the Browns players, his teammates, coming to his defense. No, look, Baker is being misrepresented. He's a great guy. You don't see any of that. You see reports about his immaturity. Baker, look in the mirror. Learn from this. You're still young. You still got a lot of talent. You still can have a very good career. But you got to humble yourself. You've got to mature, become a better leader, and you can get it done. Because he'll get a chance, I believe. He'll probably be released, and then somebody will pick him up. He'll have to battle for the starting job, which is Duress. but I think he can get it done. So that's the Bud list for this week. Let's see if these guys take it as motivation.
All right, Brew, I think this is a really good list. I agree with basically everyone you have on there for every reason, including Mahomes. And it's one of the reasons one of the added bonuses of the Tyreek Hill trade is one of the few arrows folks could sling at Mahomes with the greatest opening 4 years of a career of any quarterback ever was, well, he had Tyreek Hill the whole time. Well, now he doesn't. So now we get to see him without Tyreek Hill, and we get to see Tyreek Hill without Mahomes, who we, by the way, saw for the first couple of years of his career when he was a very good receiver, but not a Hall of Fame lock receiver like he's looked the last 4 years. So I agree with all of this, but I'm going to add a different receiver to the list. I'm going to add Odell Beckham Jr. to the list, and here's why. So Odell is still unsigned. And Odell saw the Rams go out and get Allen Robinson. They obviously have Cooper Kupp already. Cooper Kupp is at least in the argument for the best receiver in football. If not the best, he is consensus top 3 at worst. Allen Robinson's been a guy everyone's always said if he only had a quarterback. So Odell is staring at a situation where if he goes back to the Rams, he is potentially the number 3 wide receiver on that team. So I would just give my buddy Odell a piece of advice, Kevin Wildes. And the advice would be,
here we go.
You have the ability to rewrite your own narrative. Selfish, me, focused on the glamour and the glitz. And instead be the ultimate wide receiver winner. What if where Odell goes, winning follows? And what if you take on the challenge of being the clear number 1 receiver on a team? So I'm doing this in real time, Wildes, but where could he go for a team that has legitimate Super Bowl aspirations that does not have a clear number 1 receiver? So I know what you're thinking. You're thinking Green Bay is the answer. However, I have on good authority Odell doesn't like frigid, cold weather. So,
where did Foxborough out?
Kansas City.
I wonder where.
Do they have cap space? They do. Do they have a great quarterback? They do. Do they all of a sudden have a huge void at number 1 receiver? They do. Would you get a ton of targets? You would. So, just throwing it out there for Odell, if he wants to prove not only is he the ultimate winner, but also can still be a number 1 receiver, maybe go somewhere you'd be the unquestioned number 1 receiver, Odell. So I think it's a little motivation, a little duress for him as he has a very major decision coming up, Kevin Wildes.
I think that I actually like that. I think that would be wonderful for Odell, and I wouldn't mind him competing to try to get into the playoffs. He can prove, do you have enough what it takes to get over 500, help the Chiefs get to 9-8. All right, Broussard, I am adding my favorite proprietor of a coffee chain, the CEO of Starbucks. No, Jimmy Butler, Big Face Coffee. Never took off post-bubble. Jimmy, call us. We're drinking coffee all the time. Help us out. Sometimes heat culture can get a little too hot. And it did last night. This is the Instagram one. Gotta have to blur this one out. This is not even the game tape. Haslam pretty upset at Jimmy. Spoelstra upset at Jimmy. Then Spoelstra gets out there. A little bit of I don't know if it hits fracas level, Broussard, but it certainly got up to brouhaha. All right, so the question for you is this, Broussard. Draymond and Kevin Durant a few years ago had one disagreement on the court, and we're like, that's it. You know what? The Warriors, they don't get along. It's not going to work. It's going to be a weight on the entire season, and they're not going to win the championship. Meanwhile, this is a full-on kerfuffle, and the Heat are spinning it like, you know what? Actually good for us. It's the passion. Which way do you go? Is there any chance that this could actually be good for the Heat?
Yeah, I lean toward the latter because the Heat culture is toughness. Pat Riley has set a culture where it's all about confrontation. It's all about challenging guys.
Is there.
He doesn't mind it. Yeah, he doesn't mind it when guys go at each other. Obviously, you got to keep the main thing, to use his phrase, and I think they'll do that. So I don't think this is a huge deal, Wildes. I think they kind of like it in Miami. But to your point, if it were to become a big deal with Jimmy Butler, this would be big and put pressure on him, as you said, because outside of Chicago, ever since he left there, he's had issues everywhere. Minnesota, Chicago. And if this became a thing and
Philly.
he messed things up for the Heat, which is Philly, Minnesota and Philly, then that would obviously be an issue for Jimmy Butler and affect his future going elsewhere. But I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Let me get to OBJ. Nick, I like it. I don't think he's under huge pressure. I think the money wherever he goes will kind of be similar, right? Like nobody's throwing a ton of money at OBJ coming off that injury. And I think teams also felt like even if he weren't injured, they would have looked at it like, well, he was in a contract year. He had to be on his best behavior in LA, and he was. But I love your idea. I love it. And I think everyone would love OBJ going to Kansas City. I'm not sure. I think McCole Hardman might have something to say about OBJ because of the injury being the number one. I think those two would both be very good.
I've watched every snap of McCole Hardman's career. He won't have anything to say about it. No. McCole Hardman's going to have something to say about staying in the league.
OBJ coming off another knee injury. We'll see. But the bottom line is I love him in Kansas City. I think that'd be a great move. And look, the duress part of it, I guess, would OBJ be willing to go to Kansas City? Or does he want to go to a big, warm weather city, something like that?
That dollar
Maybe
spins goes far there.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.